I couldn't wait to get up this morning to deliver you this message. One of my favorite movies, The Usual Suspects. Kevin Spacey stated the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. And how does that relate to politics in today's story? In the photo on your screen. You see, they convinced the world that President Trump was the boogeyman. But all they were doing was using the persona of President Trump. Not to attack President Trump. Oh no. That's what they wanted you to believe. Now there was a much more malicious plan in play. And it's been executed flawlessly. You know, I love politics. I love the inner workings of politics. I love when Kamala Harris gets on an interview and says she was playing 3D chess when I doubt she can play chess at all. Because the actual chess match has been happening before your very eyes. And for many, checkmate's been called. But what happens next? Oh, my friends, you're not going to like it very much. And it's a story I'll bring you in just a few seconds. Can't tell you how important this message is. I hope you share it with everyone because a lot of people are missing what's happening. They're putting everything into sound bites, as most people do, and that's fine. I get it. News can be complex, but I'm going to break it into a very black and white format for you here, a very black and white message. We'll start with the HuffPost. Fury over Senate GOP's self-dealing payday. Okay. The gory details inside Dems shutdown back down. A little closer to the truth. And then I can't believe they actually printed this. Newsom whacks the 8. Doesn't he wish? I'm sorry. I couldn't let that headline go, but I hope some of you got that joke. But nonetheless, let's go into what's happening with the Democrats right now. Because it goes into the main story. Because remember, they used Trump to trick everyone.
Many of my friends are unhappy. They think we should have kept our government closed indefinitely to protest the policies of the Trump administration. I share their opinions of this administration, but cannot accept a strategy which wages political battle at the expense of my neighbor's paycheck or the food for his children.
My neighbor's paycheck or the food for his children. Because it was the Republicans who were going to hold back the food. Well, they played it that way, didn't they? I'll show you the articles that they played it that way, but even some Democrats waking up to the scam. Schumer privately fought to extend government shutdown. Now, why was Chucky doing that exactly? This on Axios. It's unclear if the group was big enough to end the shutdown, but Schumer persuaded the moderates to hold out until at least the beginning of November, when open enrollment for the ACA began, the Affordable Care Act. I covered this yesterday. If you're on the public platforms, I'll put a link to the video above. If you're restricted, go back to the video prior. It's critical you understand this ACA and how they played this. In this article, they're blaming Schumer. But how did they get to this point? By blaming Trump. Remember, Orange Man bad started everything. Trump's policies were responsible for the shutdown. How quickly did everything change to suddenly being all Schumer's issue? Which I'm not to say isn't correct, because this was Schumer's shutdown. But it was master manipulation by a different part of the party. I've reported on this to you in different facets, but we're going to just clean it up today. And now what happened to Schumer?
He's at minus 4 points. That makes him the least popular guy for a Dem Senate leader going all the way back since the mid-1980s at least.
Okay. Goal number 1 accomplished. Now Chuck Schumer is officially the most unpopular Democrat Senate leader in his own party on record. But not the goal, just a part of the goal. Who will be his replacement? There has to be a mission, right? Why would you go after your own Senate leader? Remember, Orange Man bad. but now Schumer bad. Man, there's got to be a larger plan in place. Listen in.
Have a sense of why?
Why? It's because Democrats, they want a fighter. Chuck Schumer is above water with the Democrats in his home state, but just by 16 points. Look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez running way ahead. If she decides to challenge Chuck Schumer come 2028, she's got a real leg up on the competition. I dare say at this point she would be the favorite.
Game, set, match. They got exactly what they wanted. Such deceit, such deception. And so many of the Democrats are still playing into it, not learning yet that their own fate is at stake. Gavin Newsom, not all cylinders firing at any moment in time, declaring that calling the shutdown over was pathetic. Or, this isn't a deal, it's a surrender. Don't bend a knee. Or, instead we saw capitulation and a betrayal of working Americans. Okay. You're using one of their talking points, working Americans, over and over. But beware, Gavin, because you're not part of the party. You're not a part of their plan. You may think you are, but all you're doing is feeding the beast. Pelosi and Schumer fed the beast for some time. Pelosi attempted to fight back, but now what happens with Pelosi? Exit stage left. The writing's on the wall. They just didn't see it soon enough. But who wrote it? Who was holding the pen in their hand the whole time? And everyone missed the mastermind. Oh, folks, we're just only beginning this story. And the momentum's only going to pick up. Before I get there, do me a huge favor. Continue to let this algorithm know who's the boss, which is you, by doing a few simple things. Making sure your bell is checked all. If you're new here, by subscribing. We try to keep the news very black and white. I try to take this huge political landscape that they want really complex and boil it down to actually how simple it is. It is not as complex as they want you to think. Your comments, your shares, your joining as a member mean the world to me. Also means the world to the public platforms because it lets them know that this news matters. Those of you who followed me over to the remainder of my podcast today, we're going to be going back to New York, to Mandani, and who he just appointed and who she is and what she stands for. New York. Hold on, my friends. I'm going to tell you even more of what's coming at you. Just boil it down to 911 alone, and it will give you just a portion of their plan. Love you to join me at restrictedrepublic.com today. Monthly and annual subscriptions. Also, to help me keep these lights and cameras on, I have a very special sponsor, and so many of you are calling them right now. It's Medicare open enrollment period right now from October 15th to December 7th. You know, with the government being open or closed, it is still a huge process to get through. And Chapter, they're licensed Medicare professionals. In a call in under 20 minutes, they can review all your options, and that is no easy task. Best part about them, if you're already on the best plan, they're going to tell you that, but that isn't often the case. Seniors right now are bombarded with robocallers, mailings, everyone pushing for their plan, what benefits them, but Chapter is different. They're pushing for the plan that's best for you. You can't wait. If you don't check, you could lose your doctor, end up overpaying, or what's worse, being on the plan that's not best for you. If you have 20 minutes today, what's a free phone call hurt to 805-619-5011? Best thing you might find out is you're on the best plan. They're going to tell you that. You move on, have a great day. Or they're going to tell you you could save some money, and you're going to move on, and you're going to have a great day by making a free, simple phone call. Remember, plans change every year. The open enrollment period goes through December 7th. Don't wait till the last minute. Chapter can review all your options in under 20 minutes. Call today so you can enjoy the rest of your year with the peace of mind that you have the right plan for next year. And let Chapter do all the heavy lifting for you. You're talking to a live person. It's an amazing company. Not only the testimonials I receive tell me how good this company is, but you know the average person who calls them saves $1,100 a year. This is the right fit for you. Give them a call, 805-619-5011. That company, Chapter. Give them a call now. But now let's get back to this broadcast. So remember, The writing's on the wall. For Chuck Schumer, everything gets worse after shutdown deal, but that was all a part of the plan, wasn't it? But who's been leading the charge behind the scenes? A man who believes he should be president. A man who represents everything they represent. The orchestrator, one of the masterminds of all of this, because his people are behind all of this. Democrats must not cave in to Donald Trump. Written by Bernie Sanders, disappearing on The Guardian. The government shutdown is not an accident. Trump's budget would push millions into poverty. It must be stopped. You see, Trump was always made to be the boogeyman. But that trick, it came with a much different treat for the Dems now, didn't it? Going down in the article. Democrats in the U.S. Senate must stand with the working families of our country and in opposition to Donald Trump's authoritarianism. Man who takes private plane. Man who is not part of the working class states. We have an administration that's waging war against the working class of our country and our most vulnerable people. While Trump's billionaire buddies become much, much richer, he's preparing to throw 15 million Americans off the health care they have, which could result in 50,000 unnecessary deaths each year. I wonder where he comes up with these numbers. 20 million people who rely on the Affordable Care Act. Here we go again. Trump is prepared illegally to withhold funding from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, despite a $5 billion emergency fund established by Congress. But Bernie, what is that emergency fund to be used for? To fund SNAP? Or is it used for emergencies? Be careful where you want to push that funding around to, because the Supreme Court appears to disagree with you. Wonder why. And all of this is being done to provide $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. Oh, such a socialist talking point. It's all the fault of the rich, isn't it, Bernie? But don't worry, you have a solution, don't you? Trump is a schoolyard bully. You see how many times he lists Trump and Trump and Trump over and over again. But that's not who he targeted, was it? Schumer sees the writing on the wall. Nancy Pelosi retires. What's Trump done? He's continued to roll forward. This was never about Trump. Anyone who thinks surrendering to him now would lead to better outcomes and cooperation in the future, and don't worry, Bernie gives it away here in just a second. This is a man who threatens arrest and jail for his political opponents, deploys the U.S. military in Democrat cities, and allows masked immigration and customs enforcement agents to pick people up off the streets and throw them in the vans without due process. The same old sound bites and talking points. And here's the golden part. What will it mean if Democrats cave? We got to throw Trump in again. Remember, he's the boogeyman. Trump, who already holds Democrats in contempt and views them as weak and ineffective, will utilize his victory to accelerate his movement towards authoritarianism. And now the talking point goes away. If Democrats cave now, it would be a betrayal of millions of Americans who fought and died for democracy, the word I despise, and our Constitution. It would be a sellout of a working class that is struggling to survive in very difficult economic times. Democrats in Congress are the last remaining opposition to Trump's quest for absolute power. To surrender now would be a historic tragedy for our country, something that history will not look kindly upon. Oh, Bernie, now the truth is coming out, isn't it? Democrats must not turn their backs on the need of working people and allow our already broken healthcare system to collapse even further. The healthcare system that you created, mind you. Democrats stand with the American people. The American people will stand with them. If they surrender, the American people will hold them accountable. You see, Bernie doesn't like a lot of the Democrats, because they don't represent what he represents, the socialist ideal of government. But there's members within Congress that do represent that ideal. And that ideal is rising up. Why Democrats finally caved in the government shutdown fight. Donald Trump was willing to make millions of people suffer. You see how the HuffPost grabbed Bernie Sanders' talking points and put them directly into their article? Because as I always showed you, it's always the same message. And by knowing who gave the message, you know who the ringleader is. They underestimated his apathy and ruthlessness in denying health care and food aid. Same talking points. Trump's actions were beyond craven. They were skeptical of the strategy and it was worth the fight, one Senate Democrat aide told the HuffPost. They just got enough pushback from everyone in the caucus who were like, if we're not willing to fight for health care, what are we willing to fight on? Same talking point. Democrats walked away with the promise of a symbolic vote on health care, and that's almost certain to fail. No extension for enhancing subsidies for people enrolled in the Affordable Care Act, and no guardrails to stop Trump from ignoring the law and withholding more funds passed by Congress. Schumer voted against the bill, but is getting blamed for his party's failed strategy. Progressives rage at Schumer, and only adding to his political problems and raising the specter of a primary when he runs for re-election in 3 years. Somebody got exactly what he wanted. It wasn't Orange Man bad. It was Schumer out. But he's not the only one. They're not even close to done yet. Christine Pelosi passes on bid for retired mother's House seat, Nancy Pelosi's daughter. Remember when I told you who the challenger was to Christine Pelosi? You remember? Former AOC Chief of Staff announces run for Nancy Pelosi's House seat, and they want him to win. Why do they want to win? Shaikat Chakrabarti to win. Yes, I probably always mispronounce it. It's irrelevant. It's who he is that is relevant. Justice Democrats was founded in January of 2017 by Cenk Uygur of the progressive online news program The Young Turks and former Bernie Sanders presidential campaign staffers, one being Shaikat Chakrabarti, who now looks poised to win that House seat. And Pelosi's daughter magically moved out of his way to assure that happens. The Justice Democrats, I warn you time and time again, Ro Khanna. And what did Ro Khanna just do? He called for Chuck Schumer to step down. This is how many of these Justice Democrats, founded by Shaikat Chakrabarti, ex-Bernie campaign manager, ex-AOC campaign manager, are in Congress right now. Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Summer Lee, Pramila Jayapal, and many, many more to come. This and these are the rising stars, but there's people in their way. And it wasn't Orange Man bad. They just used him to get what they wanted. The Republicans, though, haven't wised up to this yet. Senator Schumer chose to have this shutdown. He just dug up more snakes than he can kill. The statement? Extremely truthful. He did dig up more snakes than he can kill. The snakes that wanted him gone. And Chuck Schumer didn't see it. Because as they wipe away Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the Clintons, magically, the Clinton corruption files, Bondi and Patel, unleashed new evidence about former First Lady and her foundation. Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel produced to Congress a new cache of documents showing how Bill and Hillary Clinton's foundation collected donations from foreign and domestic interests seeking influence. Officials told Just News documents were transmitted to Senate Judiciary Committee in recent days and detailed numerous instances of foreigners and even a U.S. defense contractor seeking to curry favor from the Clintons through donations to their family charity, including Hillary Clinton serving as Secretary of State and Bill Clinton when the U.S. president from 1993 to 2001. The old establishment is being eradicated. Washington is being turned inside out before your very eyes. This is the greatest political theater you will ever see. But I'll finish this argument on an even stronger case. Not by playing Kamala saying she was playing 3D chess against Trump, who was playing 4 or 5D chess, call it what you will. But Indivisible comes out, just taking my argument to the next level. Indivisible, backer of the No Kings movement. Orange man bad, remember? Going after Trump. Suddenly, magically, and mysteriously pivots. Indivisible launches its largest primary program in response to Senate Democrats surrendering on the shutdown vote. Let's listen to the leader, Ezra Levine.
We are launching the largest primary program in the history of Indivisible in response to the surrender by Senate Democrats. The Republicans were on the ropes. Our approval ratings were going up. In response to all that, suddenly they surrender. They capitulate entirely. With the Senate, it's very clear. One of the demands is do you support Chuck Schumer for Senate leadership? If you do, you're not on our list.
Now, doesn't that all fit neatly into the little box I just painted for you, huh? I certainly hope it does. It's what I warned you for many weeks now was coming. You see, here we stay far ahead of the news cycle because I don't look at the sound bites and talking points. No, I watch how things are ebbing and flowing. Who's the mastermind behind the scenes at all times? Who is the man behind the curtain? Probably wasn't who you expected, huh? A man who's always had an axe to grind because he truly feels he should be president, and if he can't be, he'll just turn the system inside out. And he'll get what he wants anyway. And if you don't believe me again, listen to him tell you himself. If Schumer steps down, who is going to take his place?
Schumer voted no, or is going to vote no, along with you. He did last night. He's going to do it again. But a lot of Democrats are blaming him because he is the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. And some of your allies, like Congressman Ro Khanna of California and others, are saying Schumer should step down from his position as Democratic leader in the Senate. Do you still have confidence in him as leader of the Senate?
Look, Chico, if Schumer steps down, who is going to take his place? The truth is, progressives in the Senate.
The truth is, progressives in the Senate are right now. I don't want the Democrat establishment. Nancy Pelosi gone. Schumer gone. Orange man bad used as the trickery to achieve his goal. Not because Trump is an idiot. No, because Trump was effective. It allowed them the open door they needed because Trump also took out the establishment. And it's being taken out more and more every day. And so what happens? The socialists saw their opportunity and they're seizing on it. And the old guard, unable or unwilling to process what's happening, is falling one by one, like the weak and frail house of cards they've always been. What Washington, D.C. is today, it will not be 3 years from now. You are watching one of the largest political shifts in modern U.S. history. I will be here to assure I cover it for you move by move because no one else is giving you this intelligence, this level, I hope, of oversight of what these folks are doing. And I guess no greater example than what happened in New York, huh? Which I'm going to go now into to explain how the Democrat Socialists of America just took control of that city in great detail. I love you all. Hope you'll join me over at Restricted Republic. If you're already at Restricted Republic, again, just look for the version of this same tab in black and white. That's how you always know the second part of every podcast. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.